Just try to refresh everything. Covenant study. Today we want to continue with Genesis chapter 10, and possibly we will touch chapter 11. We want to look at inhabitants of the earth. After the flood, what next? Yahweh began to repopulate the earth again, and that was with Noah and his family members, the wife, the children, the three children, that is Japheth, Shem, and Ham, with their wives. So about 8 of them, the earth began to be repopulated. Now, if you look at the chart here, you will see what is called Table of Nations. Table of Nations. Table of Nations here is showing 3 locations. Location number 1 here is north, the northern part of the world. The middle here is showing the middle part of the world, or central part of the world. Extreme right here is showing the southern part of the world. So this is how Yahweh distributed the habitation, the living places of these people, these 3 children of Noah. Now here we see Japheth occupying the north. Japheth was given the north. Chapter 10, 1 to 5 showed us that Japheth was given the northern part. Now, in verses 21 to 32, we see that Japheth was given the middle, the center of the earth. Shem was given the central portion of the earth. It's not Ham. Now, Ham was given the southern part. If you look at from chapter 10, 6 to 20, that is for Ham. Now, Japheth was the elder amongst the 3 children. Verse 21 tells us that he was the elder. And he occupied north and west of Middle East. Within the middle, he occupied the northern side of it, as it were. And that location, for you to find out the very location within his place of occupation or habitation, is around northwest of Middle East. Then you find Greece, the country of Greece, the modern day Greece, West Turkey, and the Mediterranean islands. So all the whole of those areas going north, even upper north, whether you call it Russia then or China, so on and so forth. So that is Japheth. Now, Shem, the second son, who lived at the center or central of the earth, was given the middle, what is called today the Middle East. Now, I prefer to call it the middle of the earth. He got the middle of the earth. And he had sons. So let me finish with Japheth. Japheth had, about 7 sons. And verses 3 and 4, let's get that clarified. Verses 3 and 4, Genesis chapter 10, 3 and 4. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphat, but if we begin from verse 2, they said the sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Medar, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. Now, verse 3, the sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphat, and Togarmah. Now, if you look at the setting here, you find out that only two names featured prominently, Gomer and Javan, of the sons of Japheth. What about others? Yes, we heard at some point, we heard about others like Ashkenaz. Ashkenaz are the people they said are occupying the land of Israel today. Because Yahshua told us that Gentiles will occupy that land until he returns. So by the time he will be coming back, then he will do something. Remember the image that Daniel interpreted in Daniel chapter 2. That image showcased kingdoms, Babylon being the gold, Medes and Persia followed, being the shoulder, then down to the belly or so on. Then from the belly down to the thigh, you see the grease. Then the leg going down, even the two legs, the Roman Empire. So when Yahshua will be back, from beginning of that image, the gold or Babylon, down to Roman Empire, he will clear all those powerful leaders, took the government from them and set up his own government. And that is what we are, when Bible talk about the kingdom of Yahweh or kingdom of heaven, that is the very kingdom. And here we see that division of the world or the earth, as it were, into these hemispheres. The northern hemisphere, the central hemisphere, the southern hemisphere. We are meant to be occupied by human beings, inhabited, populated, and they should fill the earth. Remember what Yahweh told Adam? Fill the earth. Fill, let the earth be inhabited, and all that. And after that age, they could not achieve the purpose because of corruption, because of sin. They were cleared. Then Yahweh started with Noah and his family. And he told Noah, remember in chapter 9, where Yahweh was telling him, fill the earth. Now, something happened about this fill the earth. Part of the rebellions that had existed thus far is obeying that command. Human beings will always want to reprogram or just outrightly say no to Yahweh and choose to follow their own way. Now, we will get there, but before then, let's look at the second son, Shem, who inhabited the center of the earth. He had sons, Elam, Ashur, Arphazad, Lud, and Aram. Now, he had, in addition, Salah and Eber. Now, this Salah and Eber, out of the sons of Shem, came from Arphazad. Arphazad had two sons. We are given two sons of this man, at least the prominent of them were Salah and Eber. And note that Eber was outstanding. Eber followed the footsteps of Shem, as Shem followed the footsteps of Noah in terms of holding to righteousness. at a point when we treated the book of Genesis, particularly habitation of the earth, we began to look at seed, we call it seed tracing. We began to look at how Yahweh began to look at the seed, the descendants that will occupy the earth, that will inhabit the earth. Because that is the preoccupation of Yahweh. When he created Adam, he wanted out of Adam, his generation, his children will occupy the earth, as Yahweh occupied heaven with the angels. So Yahweh gave out the earth to Adam to occupy. Now, that has not been achieved right from the time Yahweh began this assignment. But what is Yahweh doing? Yahweh has his register. That's why we hear about where we hear about the book of life and other books. What is it for? That is what Yahweh is doing. Yahweh is taking account and taking note of the seed, the righteous seed or the good seed. Their names are entered into the book of life. The unrighteous, the wicked, the sinful men and women, their names are entered in the books. Those books, they say these books of volumes. There are many, because the wicked are many. So every human being born in this earth has a share of where he's going. Either he's going to the righteous path, whereby his name will be entered in the book of life, or the person will enter into the books where the dead, those that will be wiped out, are entered. Now, in the end, Yahweh will open the book. When he will fill the earth, he will open the book. Those whose name or names are in the book will inherit the earth. Those whose names are found in the books will be destroyed. They will not be part of the earth. So this is seed tracing. How is Yahweh doing this? From Adam, we see Adam, his offspring, and so on, to Seth. Seth was born. Men began to call upon the name of Yahweh again, because Cain killed his brother Abel. And a lot of children were born later, including Seth, who followed Yahweh on and on. Then here we see Noah coming on board from Methuselah. Then Noah had these 3 children, and they have begun to repopulate the earth. So we see that Arphaxad, who is of Shem, the meaning of Shem is Nem. And that is what the Jews, this Shem is what Jews picked up to replace the name of Yahweh. Instead of calling him his name, they always say, my people shall know my name, my people shall call me my name and all that. But they don't want to have it. Human beings want to change the will of Yahweh, the commandments of Yahweh. So Shem is a name of human being, and is associated to Yahweh. From Adonai, Elohim, they reduced it down to Shem, the name of Yahweh. So that is neither here nor here, because Yahweh didn't command that. Now, Eber had 2 children. Joktan, verse 25 there, we give you the name of Joktan, and Peleg, in the same verse, 2 children of Arphaxad. Now we are told that Joktan and his sons founded the nations in the present day Arab. Verses 26 and 29 will show us, these children, the sons of Joktan, that founded the nation or the environment, the present location of the Arabs. Now, Peleg, also son of Eber, originated the people of Hebrews. So, ancestor of Abraham, father of Hebrews, that is Peleg. So his ancestor of Abraham is from him Abraham came. The father of Abraham was Terah. So that is the lineage. But here Abraham was identified. Eber identified, Peleg identified, Abraham identified. All these are seeds. He didn't talk about Terah. Terah was known as an idol worshiper. We are told that he had almost 12 gods he was worshiping. But this his son Abraham held to Yahweh because he got connected to Eber and even got connected to Shem and got connected to Noah, because Noah was still alive when Abraham was born. And even when he was growing up, Abraham knew Noah, because they were living longer days or years. So that is Eber, who later became Peleg to Hebrew to Abraham. That's lineage. Now, the last born of Noah is Ham. Verses 6 to 20 shows that Ham got him and his grandsons founded nations in the southern hemisphere of the Middle East and North Africa. That is Ham. Remember, out of this Ham, Canaan came on board. So we have of all the sons, we have Canaan, Mizraim. Mizraim is Egypt. Canaan is the present day, where the present day Israelites are occupying. Remember what happened to Canaan and why that land, he lost it. Remember when they were coming out from Israel, Israelites were coming out from Israel, Mizraim, that is Egypt. They were going where? Yahweh says, head on, go to Canaan, the land of Canaan. That was where Abraham was sent from Haran. Abraham was originally from Ur. Then Yahweh asked him to move on to Canaan. He stopped over at Haran. From Haran later, Yahweh said, no, it's not there. Move into Canaan. And it was in Canaan, remember Genesis chapter 12, where he made him a promise that if he will obey him and follow his instructions, he will make him not only just a great man, but father of nations, the one that is going to be the father of all human beings. And that came to be, because in the end, Genesis chapter 12, when Yahweh say, follow me and be blameless, he followed him and he was blameless. He followed him, he was righteous. He followed him, he became son of Yahweh, friend of Yahweh. And he was promised that the land of Canaan shall be given to him, and the land of the Jebusites will be given to him. And his land or his territory will begin from the river Nile, down to river Euphrates. So where these people are today, called Israelites, is a small, tiny portion of the massive land Yahweh promised. Why? Because the many Israelites are not there. You were dislodged because of rebellion. When they came back from Egypt, they didn't sustain, they didn't live in that land. After clearing Canaanites, Amorites, Jebusites, Girgashites, and all those Gentile nations, down to Euphrates, they were unable to live because they joined them and followed their culture, their way of life, what they worship. The God, the Elohim, the Baal, whatever they were worshiping, they joined them, which Yahweh warned never. Now, Israelites is made up of Yahweh and Yahweh alone. Yahweh is the choice of Israel. Why? Yahweh wanted to use Israel as not only as his servants, but as his witnesses. To do what? To teach the world how to come back to Yahweh, how to worship Yahweh. So that, because the entire world was worshiping another, the entire world was worshiping God, Elohim, Adonai, whatever title they choose. That was what the entire world was worshiping. Then Yahweh had to pick who? Shem to Eber, Eber to Peleg, Peleg to Abraham, Abraham to the descendants, Israelites. Brethren, we are talking about seed tracing. Yahweh is tracing his people. Yahweh is picking his people. Yahweh, if you like, Yahweh is selecting his people. Are you part of the people, and how? Today, by Yahweh's grace, Yahweh will open us up, because all that you are doing in these studies is connected to whatever message. Anybody giving you a message outside the Torah, outside what Yahweh has given to us, the person is teaching his own message or giving his own instruction, which is deadly. It's all about the word of Yahweh. So today, we are going to look at the eyes of Yeshua. We're going to look at the heart of Yeshua. We're going to look at the words of Yeshua, the teaching of Yeshua. What did he teach? And what does his teaching give us or project or align us to be doing even at this time? So later we're going to look at all those. But now let's quickly move on to this table of nations, the three children of Noah that repopulated or began the repopulation of the world. Now we have looked at Canaan, we have looked at Mizraim, which is Egypt, and we said Canaan is being occupied today by Israel because Yahweh commanded it, Yahweh authorized it. Whether the people of Gaza like it, whether the people of Palestine like it, Israelites will return in that land because it's their own. Is given to them by the authority of the creator of heaven and earth, who own the earth and who own everything. So they're going to possess that land, but we are getting in there. Yes, we are getting in there because the real owner and the true owner are outside. They're all in the world, all over the world. Now we see chapter 10, 6 to 20 gave us information about a man. Remember, let's look at that verse 10. Chapter 10, verse 8 and 9, a name was mentioned. A name was mentioned. That name, ring bell or true. Chapter 10, verse 8. Here's my 8. Okay. Cush begot. Okay, let me take it from where I'm supposed to, where you pick it up. Verse 7 there says, the sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Septeka. And the sons of Rama were Sheba and Dedan. 8, verse 8. Cush begot Nimrod. Mark that name, because most of what we are going to be doing now is talk about this particular name. he began to be a mighty one on the earth. He began, the earth began to have problems, corruption, sin, iniquity, disruption from this man's activity, this man's behavior. Verse 9, he was a mighty hunter before Yahweh. Therefore, it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh. Now, that is Nimrod here. He is the son of Cush. Son of Cush. And Cush came from who? Cush came from Ham, who is living within the southern hemisphere, southern block of the earth. Now, we see that this man was powerful, because when the Bible is talking about mighty one, you can't just use that word without associating it with power and authority. I hope we will catch. I'll be moving it as we go down. Are you seeing the board? Please indicate if you are seeing the board. It's a little bit tiny, but then I will be reading it. Now, yeah, here we jump into chapter 11. Sorry? I heard a voice. I was asking whether you are seeing the board.
Yeah, I can see the board. Can't read it, though.
Oh, yeah, because it's tiny. Don't worry. I'll be reading them out. Now, Nimrod, here we look in this chapter 11, we are looking at Nimrod and Tower of Babel. Now, mainly how the nations, were founded, particularly the nations Nimrod found. So we want to look at this Nimrod, his activities, because he featured prominently in chapter 11. Whatever happened to them people of the world revolved around Nimrod. So let's quickly look at what he did. First and foremost, when he began to become a man, after every said and done, the kingdoms has been distributed and everything. He's coming from Ham. Ham, remember, father of Cush. And Cush is the father of Nimrod. So Nimrod now became a man, and so he moved upwards and discovered Babel, the city. And this Babel of a city is known as, according to Nimrod, and what he designed to do. And it was later, after he found himself, he has been so blessed by Yahweh, because Yahweh blessed Nimrod. Yahweh gave Nimrod everything he needed for life. Yahweh gave him power to go out and war and conquer nations. He conquered, at that time, they had become nations. Japheth was a nation. Shem was a nation. So all that warred against him, and all those that he warred against, he was defeating them. So Yahweh, was on his side. Not that Yahweh wasn't on the side of all others, but the point there is that Yahweh made him strong. Yahweh blessed him. Yahweh gave him everything he needed as a human being, to stand firm and to bless Yahweh. Yahweh cannot bless somebody and the person showed his back to Yahweh. You have to, in return, reciprocate. Now, he founded Babel. We are told Babel is gate of gods. He founded Erech, the second city. He founded Akkad. He founded Calneh, the land of Shinar in the north. When Noah and his movement after the flood, during the flood and after the flood, he settled around that side and so on. Noah had to live there. I believe Noah died around that area called Shinar. Shinar is within towards Euphrates, Iraq, present Iraq, around that side is where you find Shinar. So this man, Nimrod, founded it. And that is why, and all those areas is what is called Babylon. Old Babylon is within that Iraq area. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cities. There are 5, another 5th one. He founded Assyria. Remember, Assyria was a powerful nation. Assyria was a nation that overthrew Israelites, the 10 tribes. Why did Assyria overthrow Israel? Now, when we are telling people that worship of God is the problem of Israelites and all human beings, people don't want to hear, they don't want to believe. Assyria was given to Israel because Israel were worshiping the god of Assyria. Assyria was a Gentile nation that doesn't know Yahweh. They only knew the god they were worshiping. So here, Israel worshipped their God. And at the end of the day, who was in charge? Nimrod was in charge. So I'm going to explain something about this later. Now, that is the 5th nation that Nimrod founded. 6th nation is Rehoboth. Rehoboth was a nation also close to Assyria, within that Asian axis. Now, you find Kala. Kala is also a nation, the 7th nation Nimrod founded. Nimrod founded again Resen, R-E-S-E-N, Resen. It's another nation. All these are ancient names. You can't find them. Maybe you find them in the text as they are, but they have been renamed, and though the locations are still within the environment, but they have been renamed in one way or the other. But just like the picture we showed, all of them are within the axis of from here, from this middle is you are moving towards northwest. You're moving towards northwest. Then you will meet with where's Nimrod now? Nimrod is somewhere. You will meet the location of Nimrod because there was crisscrossing. After nations were fighting nations and defeating and all that, and moving nations like Israelites were shifted from their land. The land still remained the land, but they were moved from where they were, particularly now they're all over the world. The whole world is their constituency, is their home. But in what form? They are in captivity. They are in punishment. Because of what? Because of worship of God. They rejected Yahweh. Who owned them? Who called them? Who chose them? They rejected him. And that is the cry of heaven till today. That is the cry of all. When Yeshua came, that was his cry. Even the Jewish people that he met in that land of Canaan, that became the land of Israel, he called them and said, leave the worship of whatever you are following. Leave Judaism, the religion. Yahweh is Yahweh should be your religion. Yahweh should be your father, who you worship. But he said that they disowned him. They told him he doesn't know what he was talking about. Because who they knew was God. That's why today, I talk to anybody from morning to night about Elohim, Adonai, they will tell you, yes, that is the God that they are worshiping. And Yeshua said, no. You are not supposed to be a participant of God worshiper or God worship. You are not supposed to. Now, moving forward, 8 nations were discovered by Nimrod. Now, let us look at from verses 3 to 4. 3 to 4. Nimrod, that is, we're looking at Genesis chapter 11, 3 to 4. Nimrod and his conquered people, they built city of Babel with a tower reaching the heavens. Reaching the heavens. That is what verse 4 said. Now, what was the reason for the tower they built? What was the reason? Why did they build tower? One, they built it for God worship. Initially, that wasn't objective. Initially, that was the ambition of Nimrod to start doing what? To start conquering and acquiring and possessing and, as much as he can amass wealth, put the world upon himself and whatever. He was in good terms with Yahweh that time. He was doing well. He was worshiping Yahweh. But he kept on acquiring, amassing wealth and all that. Then, towards when he was age 40, 45, after he fought against Ham and some of his brothers in around Shem, the nation or territory or kingdom of Shem, and particularly Japheth. He conquered Ham, he conquered Japheth. So the whole nations, now when the whole nations or the remnants of nations that were left discovered that Nimrod was moving in such a swift speed to grab everybody and all that, because if you don't join, he will conquer you by force, by violence, and you become part of him. So others came and bowed to him, literally worshipped him. And he received what? That was when he began to receive worship. And that was when he turned himself to something to worship. I read something for you quickly. Let me read something in the book of Jasher or Yasha. Number 45. I read from number 45. Okay, let me read from 42. And while he was reigning according to his heart's desire, that's Nimrod, after having conquered all his enemies around, he advised with his counselors to build a city for his palace, and they did so. They built, which is Babel. And they found a large valley opposite to the east, and they built him a large and extensive city, and Nimrod called the name of the city that he built Shinar, for Yahweh had vehemently shaken his enemies and destroyed them. So Yahweh at this stage was helping him on, but his heart has begun to turn. Let's go on. Because one thing is, and that was what Yahweh told the Israelites when they were leaving Egypt. So as you leave Egypt, be wary, be careful, so that you don't enter into that land with the mentality of Egypt, with the values and cultures you acquired in Egypt. That's why he kept them in 40 years, in the wilderness for 40 years, so that they will learn his culture, they will learn Yahweh's way, so that when they enter that, they will begin to practice Yahweh's values, way of doing things, the character, attitude will be displayed. That was the reason Yahweh kept them in the wilderness for 40 years. Now, when they entered in that land, because Yahweh warned them that in that land you are going to eat in plenty. The land will produce excess for you, and you are going to be wealthy. They are not going to lack anything, and Yahweh is going to be there with them. But when you eat and you are filled, do not forget me. What Yahweh was saying is, don't abandon him for another. Don't abandon him for Satan, for God, for idol, which Satan bear. Satan bear idol, God, Jesus, Jehovah. He bear whatever he can bear as title. don't, because apart from Yahweh, there's no other. Yahweh is the only one. He said, beside me, there is no other. But Satan came and said, don't mind Yahweh. He is the number one. He is the local champion. He will sit Yahweh. He will overthrow Yahweh. He will take charge. So it now becomes a two-way kind of power. It's not two-way. It's only one power, Yahweh. So when Satan showed up with all these titles, people now appreciate it and follow those titles of Satan and bow and worship Satan. So when Israelites entered into that land, they began to worship the God which Satan named or posited to himself. So Satan began to usurp the power of Yahweh. They disobeyed Yahweh. What he told them, when you enter there, don't do like those Gentiles. Don't follow after their values or cultures or manner or behavior. Don't. Follow what they were showed in the wilderness, the way of Yahweh. They rejected, they rebelled. The same thing happened to Nimrod. When Yahweh so blessed him, he lived in the land, he conquered everybody. He had the power, and people that literally began to worship him. Nimrod said, is that so? This is the power. Who entered into him? Satan, his spirit. What Noah carried, the sin, the iniquity from Adam carried, he possessed it. And he wanted to showcase it. Satan showed his color. The seed, that very bad seed, now materialized in this man called Nimrod. Let's read on. Verse 43. And they found a large valley opposite to the east, and they built him a large and extensive city. And Nimrod called the name of the city that he built Shinar, for Yahweh had vehemently shaken his enemies and destroyed them. And Nimrod dwelt in Shinar, and he reigned securely, and he fought with his enemies, and he subdued them, and he prospered in all his battles, and his kingdom became very great. 45. And all nations and tongues heard of his fame. Listen carefully here. And they gathered themselves to him, and they bowed down to the earth, and they brought him offerings, and he became their Lord and King. Did you hear that? Let's go on. And they all dwelt with him in the city at Shinar, and Nimrod reigned in the earth over all the sons of Noah, and they were all under his power and counsel. What do you call this? I think Jubilee, book of Jubilee, or still Yasha or Enoch, one of them said at the end of the day, he turned to the beast of the world. Have you heard that before? Revelation chapter 13, remember? The beast is about to emerge. You see, what we are doing here in the book of Genesis is revealed in the book of Revelation. What the Babylon of old has replicated itself. Yahweh said, spread all over the world, populate the world, increase the world, increase and multiply in the world. Do you know what the present age, the same old, because their tongue was scattered, one language was broken into pieces, and they all scattered all over the world. Today they have regrouped again, united. Babel has been rebuilt, and Babylon is all over the world. You guess where the capital city is? I and you will know. Jeremiah revealed it, Isaiah revealed it. America is the present capital city of where this, and where is the united, that tower? Where is it? I think it's in New York or Washington. UNO office, United Nations office. That is the present day of what we are, what Yahweh described here for us. That is already with us. And they are working day and night to make sure that the beast emerge. that Nimrod has a comeback or do a comeback, Nimrod will soon emerge in a different format, as a beast. Bible call him a beast, man of sin, man of perdition. Let me take one or two verses again, then we'll be wrapping up. Verse 46 says, and all the earth was of one tongue and ways of union, but Nimrod did not go in the ways of Yahweh again, and he was more wicked than all the men that were before him. Who were the men? Remember Genesis chapter 6, when Yahweh saw the wickedness, the evil that was hitting the earth, and how human beings were swept away, destroyed, killed, bloodshed, everyday corruption, evil was reigning. Yahweh said, I can't hold it again. I will wipe out this generation. That age was swept away. That was how the flood came. Here, we are told that what Nimrod did and what Nimrod established on earth was more than what happened in the days of Adam. And the works of Nimrod is still with us till today, because the age of Nimrod hasn't been swept away. But Yahweh gave them a promise. Before Yahshua will come back, Nimrod and his activities of these last days will be visited. And Yahweh is asking, where are you? Where are you? Gone. Now he said he was more wicked more than all the men that were before him from the days of the flood until those days. And he made gods of wood and stone. Are you hearing that? Who made gods of wood and stone? Nimrod. And he bowed down to them. Remember what I told you about what Satan is doing. And remember what Yahweh told us and what Yahweh did. Exodus chapter 20, verse 3, 4, 5. Yahweh put it in writing, as Moses put it in the tablet of stone. It wasn't even Moses, it was Yahweh that wrote it himself. Yahweh said, you human beings, listen carefully. Do not worship Satan. The way people worship Satan is through wood and stone, carved images, objects, pictures of all those things. When you gather them, you praise them, you worship them, you reverence them through all those, because power permeates from there. Satan pushed his power through all those, and when people sees anything, whether human being, animal, or water, river, trees, any object through which they can get power, what do? They bow. And once one bows to anything, that thing becomes idol. And through those idols, Satan does what? Receives power. Receives praise, worship. That's how Satan is worshipped, brethren. Satan does not walk the streets of any country or nation or community to shake hands with people and ask them to bow to him. No. He got them through carved images and all those. When you talk of wood and stone, for instance, in Christianity, you have the pictures, you have the images. I've been shouting about this for long. What are those objects doing at the altar? The cross you see, the marble, whatever, stone, the wood, pictures or images. What are they doing? That is what they worship. That is where Satan received glory, received worship. Brethren, that is how Satan, we worship to Yahweh direct. Amen. Call upon his name. Satan hide. Before you say the human being worshiping directly through the name or to the name of Satan is difficult. But through those objects, he gave names. He will give them names. Either Elohim or Adonai or Jehovah or Lord or Bishop or Reverend. And they worship. And Satan said, well done. And when you do that, and Satan will say, well done. Do you know he's mocking Yahweh? That created I and you. And what do you think Yahweh will do to you? 47. And he made gods and wood and stone, and he bowed down to them, and he rebelled against Yahweh, and taught all his subjects and the people of the earth his wickedness, his wicked ways. And Madden, his son, was more wicked than his father. Let's stop it here. Brethren, it's not a joke. When Yahweh is talking about don't do idol, don't do idol, don't do from Genesis to Revelation, don't do idol is in the Bible. It is preached virtually by every prophet that has written. It is talked about by the disciples, by name them. But today, what is going on? You can't believe it. People are enjoying it. And they will query you. Why would you tell me not to worship Elohim? Why would you tell me not to worship Adonai? Do you know? Okay, what is written in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1? In the beginning, God created. Is it not in the beginning? Is it not the first chapter, first verse? Is it not God that is there? Is it Yahweh that is there? But we are told that at a point in human age, some people called Elohists changed the Yahwist writers. That when you talk about Yahwist writers, one like Moses, one like Aaron, one like Joshua, they removed and changed most of what they did, like what the Gentile Christianity did to our Bible today. You see, beginning of changing Yahweh's name, removing it, began with Israelites. They're called Elohist writers, source writers. So they removed from Genesis to Revelation, they changed all that, the name of Yahweh, and put Elohim, put Adonai. Then in recent time with Christianity, they put their own because that is their religion. That is their religion. Christianity is their religion. So they choose to put what they like and who they worship. The same people, Israelites, that fell to Satan, Gentile Christianity also fell to Satan. But in different trajectory, different names, different titles, they worship him. And Satan is happy about all this happening. So we are talking about reason for building the tower. Now we have talked about the God that Nimrod was worshiping or created. He invited Satan and became afraid of Satan. Now, they were trying to become great from Nimrod. Nimrod wanted to be the greatest of all human beings, perhaps even as great as Yahweh. Genesis chapter 3, verse 5. You will be like God. That was what Satan told Adam. So you can hear, and by the act and action of Nimrod, you can see that he was replicating what Adam did, moving into the territory and the kingdom of Satan. And that was one of the reasons. Number two, to remain together, they wanted to be united, to build a city, a tower that they will live, so that they will not be scattered all over the world. But Yahweh has said, inhabit, repopulate, and multiply in the whole world. This is disobedience. Disobedience to the word of Yahweh, to the commandments of Yahweh. Yahweh had commanded this, that they should fill the earth. Genesis chapter 9, this was told to Noah. Genesis chapter 9, verse 11. Fill the earth. So this is reason number two. They didn't want to obey that order or instruction. That was one of the reasons. They stayed put. Who is doing this? Satan. Whatever Yahweh says, overturn it. Don't follow, don't obey. Do the opposite. That is what we see happened here in Genesis 11. Now, since we are committed along the way, because unity, they wanted to be united and remain put at a particular place or location, but Yahweh didn't want it that way. So Yahweh had to do something about that unity. He touched their tongue, and their language collapsed, and they became enemy of themselves. Bring hammer, somebody will bring knife. Bring water, somebody will bring whatever he thinks. So there was confusion. So that place was called place of confusion, Babel. That Babel, confusion, and gate of gods. Now, the same thing is being replicated in our world today, as it was in the old or in the days of Adam. So it is till today. Though there are things that has changed, you can say technology and so on and so forth. But even then, there was their own technology, but then they have reunited and equipped themselves and are saying, we are going to regather and be one. So today you find United Nations speaking for the whole world and identify what each country and their leaders should be doing. And if Donald Trump had not come on board, by now we'll be talking about one world government. And they would have gotten it through war. And they will still get it through war. They will still get there. I mean, don't postpone anything. They still get there. But Yahweh is giving us the opportunity, the chance to open up our head, our brain, so that what is coming is not going to consume us, so that we are not going to be wiped away or destroyed by what he's about to do. Because he will chase them, all of them, he will chase them away, and he will reclaim, finally, he will reclaim his word. Now, since we are committed, sin number one, God worship that commands men to forsake Yahweh, because what Nimrod did was nobody should worship Yahweh again. And it's coming, that is what is coming. Government of the beast, the Babylon, the last day Babylon is going to command every man never to worship Yahweh. Anything, the Bible will be confiscated, preachers will be arrested, and if you open mouth, you are worshiping Yahweh. If they see you as they caught Daniel in the land of, the same land of Babylon, they caught him praying, worshiping Yahweh. Who did that? Nebuchadnezzar was another beast. If you read Daniel chapter 5 and 6, you find out that the same thing happened. What Nimrod displayed, Nebuchadnezzar did it. Where? In the same Babylon axis. The Babylon of today is more dangerous, more dangerous. Unfortunately, Daniel continued to worship his Yahweh. When they caught him, threw him into the lion's den, Yeshua met him there, as they did to Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. Yeshua met Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego in the midst of fire, fourth man in the fire. So nothing will happen to you. Hold on to who you hold on to. You say, how will it happen? It will happen. Yahweh does not walk the street in the flesh, but he walks the street with you, sleep with you, eat with you, go with you in the spirit. Only have faith. You will notice what I'm talking about. Now, one world government is coming, one world formation of government is coming. So God is going to be what they're going to champion. You must worship that beast. That is the God they're going to champion. And who is taking glory? Revelation 13, verses 2, 3, 4 says Satan is going to take glory via the works of the beast. Number 2 of the sins they committed: pride, making themselves equal, competing with Yahweh. They exalted themselves above Yahweh, trying to be great, trying to be recognized, trying to be noticed, and call themselves God even at the end of the day. Because the beast that is coming in this latter days is going to bear that, he may not say he's beast, but all his actions and all he's doing, the Nero activity, the Nebuchadnezzar activity is going to be redisplayed again. Now, disobedience was rife in the days of Nimrod. He refused to, spread and cause people to spread and fill the earth. He was prohibiting people. So in these latter days, you can see that they are making the world one constituency whereby nations will open their borders and the people will stray in. Every country becomes, there'll be open border anywhere, everywhere, so that you'll be one, united people, united. So your property, any property you own in any place, is not just going to be yours. Anybody can go to any country and own property. Unity, that is what this last days government is, But we bless Yahweh for Donald Trump, who is on board. Let's see how far things will work out. But they will still achieve their objective. Don't remove that from them. Now, Yahweh had to scatter them by force, confusing them or confusing their tongue, their language, so that they will not continue in the trajectory of their God worship. But unfortunately to them, they have inhabited the gods. They have been taught, they have been brainwashed, they have been religionized. Foundation of religion began with Nimrod. He founded what is called, whatever religion today, whatever God today, whatever Messiah today is anchored on what Nimrod did. Because there's no two Yahweh, there's no two power, there's no two authority, there's no two creator, it's only one. But the other one that is every day trying to usurp the power of Yahweh and want to tell the world that he is the creator. Everybody is keen behind him and bearing his name. Unknown to many, there are some others that know who that power is, but still they want to rebel to show Yahweh that they have arrived. May Yahweh bless you. May Yahweh keep you. May Yahweh give us ears to hear. May he help us to have understanding in what Yahweh is teaching us. May we not lose sight of his truth. May we continue to receive from the Spirit that is guiding us in these latter days, so that we will not walk away from our Father. So that when the trumpet will be sounded, we will find our feet entering into the kingdom without hindrance in Yeshua's name. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.